Hello and welcome to the FATBOSS Guide to Imperial Vizier Zor'lok, 25-man normal in the heart of fear.
Hello, and this encounter is very similar to beta.
So
if you have seen our beta video, yeah, it's more or less the same. A few things have changed.
Now for this encounter you want to bring 1 tank, 5 to 6 healers, and a mixture of DPS.
Now, if you'll see in the encounter area where you actually fight the boss, it consists of 3 different platforms. And when you pull him, he'll run to a random platform where he stays until you take off 20% of his HP. And this is when he'll switch to another platform. Also, when you pull the boss, the lower parts of the room fill with gas. This gas silences you and does ticking damage, so don't stand in it. You'll also be running from platform to platform, so any speed increases that you can use to get to a platform quicker is good. So like any savage roars or anything like that.
Now each of these platforms give the boss an ability which he loses when he leaves the platform. We're going to cover each platform ability one by one, but before we go into that, there is one bit ability that you need to know about which he keeps throughout the whole entire fight, which is Inhale and Exhale. Now, Inhale is when Zor'lok gives himself a buff, which increases the amount of damage Exhale does by 100%. Now, the Inhale stacks only drop if they are over 3 and he does an Exhale, so it will never go ridiculously high. Now, Exhale is when Zor'lok will create a beam between him and a player, stunning that player and doing a lot of damage. Now, if someone stands in between the boss and that Exhale player, the stun will be removed from that player and the beam will go to the new player, dealing less damage, and of course that new player hasn't got the stun. Now what you need to do is just have your tank stand in that beam every time it's cast.
Now you might want to bring an extra tank just for that purpose, as it can hurt when it's on fairly high stacks. However, you can just have 1 tank to it.
Yeah.
But you might want to use like cooldowns or get your healers to help you out with various different cooldowns when it does happen. A note for melee is to make sure you are not too close to the boss, as it will make the tank's job a lot harder to stand between the beam and you. The boss does have a huge fucking hitbox, so
yeah,
you can stand pretty far away. Another ability happens when you're not in melee range of the boss. This is called Song of the Empress. He does a really long cast. And if you do not get to melee range with him by the time he has finished it, he will just completely explode your raid and that's it, you're dead. So you always need to make sure that you have at least 1 person,
which is your tank.
Ideally your tank, within melee combat with him.
Now, this will only ever happen really, it should never get off. But the only times you really see him cast it is when he's just gone to a platform and you're not there yet. Now we're going to be moving on to the platforms and we're going to cover them one by one. Now the platform on the left gives attenuation. Now this makes him spawn a shit ton of orbs that spiral across the platform, dealing a lot of damage if you get hit by them. Now the orbs spawn in a shape that is very similar to the corners of a square. Now this shape will move either counterclockwise or clockwise from the boss, and you just need to follow it round in order to guarantee you won't get hit. You can just try and dodge them, but it's most likely that you will just die. So just move around the boss following where the orbs spawn and you should be absolutely fine.
Now the platform on the right gives Force and Verve. This is a channeled cast that the boss does and it hits really, really fucking hard. However, before he channels this, he gives you 3 noise cancelling zones. These are just like, they look like bubbles basically. Yeah. And if you stand in one of these, it reduces the amount of damage that you take from it by 40%. However, you can only have 9 people in each zone. If you have more than 9 people, then it doesn't work. So you need to make sure that when you do actually go to these zones that you have a maximum of 9 people in each, and you might even want to assign it if you can very, very quickly on the spot.
Because of course you do have 27 slots available, so there's 2 extra slots, so you should be absolutely fine. Now, just because it's reduced by 40% doesn't mean it still doesn't fucking hurt, so be prepared to AoE heal a lot and even use your own personal defensive cooldowns for this, because it really does hurt.
And also you want to make sure that you're not too close to the stairs on the platform, as the zones can actually spawn in the gas.
Yeah, and that just fucks you up.
Yeah, which is really, really bad. And yeah, it's a bit of a shit mechanic to the fight, to be honest. But there we go. Just keep away from the stairs and that should prevent the zones from spawning in the gas.
Now the platform at the back gives the boss Convert. This mind controls 5 random players which will then heal the boss at DPS rate, just generally fuck about. You need to damage them down to 50% HP to break the mind control. Do use CC, such as stuns and whatnot if you like, but just try not to debuff them too much so that they cannot damage when they come out, or they'll be taking a lot more damage. So if you give them like magic increased damage and stuff, or if you combust onto one of them, that's always bad.
Yeah, that's bad, yeah.
You'll probably end up killing them, so just be careful when you are breaking them, but you do want to break them quick because they can, as I said, heal the boss or DPS you and shit like that. It's just not nice.
Now when you're transitioning from platform to platform, you always need to make sure that your tank is the first one to engage the boss, and you also want to make sure that your tank's sort of topped up as he is running over there. Otherwise Zor'lok will turn around and slap you very, very hard, maybe enough to even kill you. So Also, tanks don't use the Warlock teleports. They will actually reset your threat. Not a lot of people know this, but yeah, if you go through a Warlock teleport, which you can use from going from one side to another, it will reset your threat.
Just before you're transitioning between the platforms, literally just as you're going into the gas, you want to be casting things like Stampeding Roar and shit like that, because of course you can't cast it while you're in the gas because you're going to be silenced. So it's a really easy way to transition. Just make sure you cast everything before you get into the gas. Now, once you've done all 3 platforms, the boss will be down to 40% HP. He will then go into the middle of the room and inhale all the gas on the floor, which gives him a 10% damage buff and a 20% haste buff. You will then need to fight him there, and he will be doing all the abilities from all the platforms, so Force and Verve, Attenuation, and Convert, all in synergy with one another. Now, this can cause some really big problems. All you really need to do is avoid the abilities as they come to you, but make sure that you get the people out of mind control as soon as possible, because they can do like AoE slows and shit like that.
Yeah,
so if you're trying to avoid like attenuation, you're just getting dragged everywhere, and you can't get to the Force and Verve things.
Yeah, so you need to make sure that it really is a priority that you break the mind controls as quick as you possibly can.
But overall, the fight itself is very, very simple. It's got some very nice move away mechanics, and I like the fact that at the end, all the mechanics come together.
Yeah, that's always awesome.
It's really quite nice.
So anyway, that's about it. Thanks for watching. If this guide did help you out, please do drop a like and make sure to comment, rate, and subscribe.
And if you'd like to see any of our other 25-man normal guides, then please do click up on the annotations on your screen now, and that'll take you over to those videos as you see them.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching.